So this also then leads on to the idea of whether or not the brain ever does big jumps, or does it only do small steps. And the answer is that the brain only ever does small steps. I can only get from here to the other side of the room by passing through the space in between. I can't teleport myself to the other side. Right? Similarly, your brain only ever makes small steps in its ideas. So whenever you're in a moment, it can only actually shift itself to the next most likely possible. And the next most likely possible is determined by its assumptions. We call it the space of possibility. Right? You can't do just anything. Some things are just impossible for you in terms of your perception or in terms of your conception of the world. What's possible is based on your history. Right? So what that means is, where does that leave us with creativity? Which we have this concept that you're linking two things that are very far apart. But if the brain never does big jumps, what's really happening? And the idea is that for the person being creative, all they're doing is making a small step to the next most likely possibility based on their assumptions. But when someone on the outside sees them doing that, they think, wow, how did they put those two things that are far apart together? And the reason why it seems that way is because for the observer, they are far apart. They have a different space of possibility. And in their space of possibility, they exist way over here. So creativity in this sense is only created from the outside, not from the inside. For the person being creative, they're making a logical next step. The difference is that their space of possibility is different. They have different assumptions, different biases. In fact, they might have a more complex space of possibility because they have more complex biases and assumptions. Maybe they had a more open attitude to when they experienced other cultures, etc., and they assimilated more complex assumptions. So they have more directions in which they can move within their space of possibility. Right? So we interpret that as them being creative by linking things that are far apart. But in fact, it's a logical process of making small steps, changing your space of possibility by identifying and then questioning your assumptions.